You just one-on-one, you're just taking over games. Is that just kind of an evolution that we're seeing from your game as you play more and more?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just, my first year, I'm just learning the NBA game, trying to pick my spots on the floor and when to be aggressive. And, I've always been able to go get a bucket. So, whenever I'm asked to do that, I have no problem with it.
I remember actually looking at this franchise a few years ago and honestly getting pretty depressed. It looked like they had no future, the players they had were mediocre, and I just turned my attention away for 2 seconds. And I turned my head back to the Orlando Magic and holy shit, what the fuck happened? It's like one moment you look at them and it's Terrence Ross, DJ Augustine, and Kem Birch, and then you turn around and then now they have Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner. How do you pronounce this guy's name, by the way? Wendell Carter Jr., Anthony Black, the other Wagner, Cole Anthony, Caleb Houston. He's Canadian, so I like him. They got Okiki, who's really good at basketball as well. Markelle Fultz, who's actually been balling since he got traded to Orlando, by the way. Jonathan Isaac, who is playing, I believe, to start off the season with the franchise, which is great because he's been there for a while and honestly has been pretty unlucky, so I'm rooting for that guy. And also a much needed vet in Joe Ingles. That's a really good player to have as a vet, by the way. They're bringing back the jerseys. These guys have just completely changed everything for the better. And it's pretty exciting. Not gonna lie. Pretty exciting. From the outside looking in, I am not an Orlando Magic fan, but, I'm happy for you guys. It seems like you guys are turning a corner and your franchise is definitely figuring things out. But if we're being totally honest with each other, I am here to talk about the main man, Paolo. Why do your players have such hard names to pronounce? Holy shit. I think he quite literally might be one of the best rookies that doesn't get talked about. For a guy that averaged 20 points, a steal, 4 assists, and 7 rebounds in his rookie season, by the way, he quite literally, I haven't seen ESPN talk about him. Maybe that's because he's in Orlando, but I don't know, man. You guys have Disneyland and shit, right? You guys are good. You guys are a big market, right? But if we're being totally honest, the first time I watched him play was against the Raptors. Holy shit, was I shocked, because up until that point he had a lot of good games. I wasn't watching Orlando. I wasn't really keeping up with Orlando. He scored 23 while shooting 72%. Did you hear what the fuck on a win too, by the way? And it wasn't beginner's luck either, because he came back and he scored 20 and grabbed 12 rebounds. Oh, and he also picked up the win. Again, the dude is 6'10", but he dribbles like a guard. Everything looks so smooth. His movements, the way he gets to his spots, it's phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that. He's a bucket getter. It doesn't seem like situations phase him either, which is pretty wild. All while he's 6'10", the NBA really likes to hype up young players, and he literally checks off all the boxes with flying colors, by the way. Yet they don't talk about him, which is pretty weird. And that's not even me talking about the rest of his game, because he's not a one-dimensional player at all. He can pass, he can dribble, he's really active on the glass as well. Orlando got them a really good one. I'm just saying, this guy is scary. I can't even imagine him in year 3 or year 4. And speaking about my Toronto Raptors, another guy came to town, because he wasn't the only one that, disgraced my franchise. You got this Franz Wagner guy, right? I hope I said his name correctly. He sees the Toronto Raptors, right? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this guy's a spot-up shooter, right? I've seen a bit of his game, but he's not, too crazy with it. He's a decent player, definitely just a role player. And then he proceeds to drop 34. He shot 80%. The dude shot 80% and dropped 34. When I was watching that with my brother, and I was fucking shocked. I was like, yo, no way the next one goes in. It didn't stop going in.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
And that is when I realized, yeah, maybe he's not just a role player. Let me look into his game a bit. He's definitely not a role player, by the way. He's also 6'10". When I saw that, I was like, that's fucking crazy. I did not think he was 6'10". But he is 6'10". Not only is he fast as shit, which is kind of wild, actually. He's an extremely fast player. He can dribble. And man, is he a good shooter. Whether that's off ball, taking a step after a dribble to shoot, creating for others, needing to take more than one dribble after you receive the ball, even if you're open, creating a shot for himself. He can create for others as well because he's definitely not a person who can't be on the ball. Great defender as well. He can do it all. Did I mention he was 6'10 as well? He's perfect. They're perfect with each other. They complement each other's games perfectly. And it's like, where did these guys come from? Orlando, how did you figure this out? I don't know why. They kind of remind me of like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Or a young OKC team, you know, when they got like Chris Paul, which is something else that I want to talk about as well. Why didn't they try to get Drew Holiday? That would have been the perfect acquisition for them, quite literally, because you guys aren't looking to tank anymore. I would say you guys are fine. You guys have a deep roster, and that isn't even me like saying Jalen Suggs isn't good enough. Actually, that would be like a pretty good mentor to have. Jalen Suggs can definitely still work out. I mean, he's had some great performances as well, but I don't think Orlando's in a rush. Right? These guys are still young. Oh yeah, and they have a fuck ton of cap space and also all their future assets. And they also just drafted Anthony Black, who is a 6'7" point guard, by the way. So if he works out, then the league is kind of fucked, low-key. But I will say, I mean, what are you guys gonna do with all those guards? Shouldn't you guys be looking to get off one? I know there's something came out recently where you guys were trying to get off Cole Anthony, which I guess, right? But like, what are you guys looking for in return? Also, I don't know. It seems like he's a great locker room guy, right? He's also a very talented player as well. He's had some pretty crazy moments for you guys in his short time there. But I don't know, like, that Drew Holiday acquisition, you guys should have been in the race for that, man. Imagine Franz Wagner, sorry if I said that wrong, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr., and then Drew Holiday. And then Drew Holiday as the point guard of that offense and defense. My God. But there's always going to be stars, right? And I haven't even talked about Wendell Carter Jr. yet. Crazy. That I don't know why the Bulls gave him up. Even when they were giving him up for Vooch, I mean, I understand they're in their window and they wanted to win at the time. But man, Wendell can quite literally do everything. No, like, that's not, you know, an overreaction. Like, he can do everything. He's a center that can shoot. He's a center that, you know, if you give it to him in the post, he can also post up and get his own buckets. Great pick and roll player as well. There's only like one minor issue with Wendell. It's just, you know, staying healthy a bit. But besides that, man, the more I look at this Orlando team, like, anybody on this roster can produce. Like, on any given night, anybody can, you know, go off. Production can literally come out of nowhere with this team. That's how many players they have. Last season, other than my own franchise, of course, I watched a lot of Sacramento. I think it might be Orlando this year, if I'm being totally honest with you. Young, fun team. I could see them. Sky's the limit. If injuries happen, like, they could low-key make the playoffs. Would it shock me? Yeah, it would be pretty crazy, but not really as well. That's the thing with this team. Really, really fun team to watch and extremely fun team to look at on paper. Just wanted to point that out. I don't know if you agree. I don't know if you care. But hey, man, if you're looking for a team to watch, you should probably watch Orlando.